Hey everyone, welcome back for a little TLC. So, we are officially in the month of March, and we are just now going to get back to talking about some ways that we can be more consistent with adhering to our New Year resolutions. I know that we took a break in the month of February, but we had some much needed talks about the family. So, if you have not seen those videos, I do encourage you to go back and check out the father daughter, mother daughter, mother son, and father son talks that we had last month. They are definitely worth watching over and over again. So much advice in those videos. Definitely check them out. Um, as we jump back into talking about our New Year resolutions, I know we're in March, but some folks fell off. And so, if that is you, now is a really good time for you to jump back on track. We are in the middle of what some folks celebrate as the Lenten season. We did a great video last year about whether Christians should celebrate Lent. And so, I'll link that video here somewhere in this video if you need to check that out. But Lent is a great time for you to get back on track with your commitments to God and what you said you wanted to do for God. And so, when it comes to consistency, we've talked about writing down the vision. We have talked about changing your mindset. And today, I want to provide one more thing that you may need to change if you want to stick to your New Year resolution, and that is your surroundings. Sometimes to stick to your New Year resolution, you may have to change your surroundings. So let's get into it. Okay, so in order to stick to your New Year resolution, to be more consistent, you may need to change your surroundings, your environment, or your location. There are a number of times in the Bible where God instructs someone to change their physical location. We have Abraham, who was told to leave his home country to travel to a land where God will give him like all this land for him and his descendants. We know about Lot, who was told to leave Sodom and Gomorrah before God destroyed that entire place. There was a demon possessed man in the New Testament who had made his residence in the tombs. But after he was delivered, Jesus told him, go back to your city. Like, get out of the caves. You don't need to be out there in the tombs now that you have been delivered. You've got to change your surroundings sometimes. And I think that sometimes, and I am like this as well, I can be super attached to my surroundings. And that could be anything. That could be your hometown, that could be your job, that could be your church location. And I think sometimes our unwavering commitment to a particular place could be preventing us from growing. It could be preventing us from walking into our next season. And it could be preventing us from sticking to the commitments that we have made to God. And so I really want us to reflect on whether our current locations are helping us grow or are they actually hindering us. In some of the examples that I gave earlier, if Abraham hadn't left his hometown, he never would have become the father of many nations. If Lot wouldn't have left Sodom and Gomorrah, he would have been destroyed along with the rest of the folks there. If the demon possessed man would have been delivered and then went right back into the caves, he would have just looked absolutely insane. I'm like what business do you have going back to the caves or to the tombs once Jesus has set you free and you are back in your right mind? Okay. And I also want us to think about how Jesus left the comforts of heaven just for us. And if he wouldn't have come, then none of us would have had a way for our salvation. We would have never been reconciled back to the Father. And so I'm not telling you that you need to quit your job or you need to run out of your church today or you need to move halfway across the country or across the world. But I do want us to be more open to obeying the command of God or the promptings of God if God tells us that we need to change our surroundings. If you are not growing in a particular place, if you feel like you are always stressed out and on edge in a particular place, if nothing is going right in a particular place, or especially if God literally says it's time to go, then I need for us to actually go. I have found that when I am hesitant about moving certain places, or if I'm hesitant about changing my location or my environment, it's really a faith problem on my behalf. It could be a faith problem or it could be an idolatry problem. I may be how do I say that? I may be idolizing. That's the word. I may be idolizing this particular place or what I think I can get there. Or I may just be wavering in my faith that God has the ability to provide for me in the place that He is telling me to go. So perhaps we may need to do a I won't even say a slight, a large faith check and also a large idolatry check. What is it about this particular place that has us sticking to it, even if God is telling us and everything else within us is telling us that we need to move? We do learn in Hebrews chapter 11 and 8 that by faith Abraham, when called to go to a place he would later receive as his inheritance, Abraham obeyed and went even though he did not know where he was going. So for Abraham, the only thing that got his feet moving was his faith in the God who told him to go. And so I want us to have that type of faith when it comes to changing our surroundings. I think that sometimes the place that we are located could just be a huge trigger for us staying in our own mess, or not just staying in our own mess, but just provides a more fruitful environment for us to remain in sin. I think about how there are like certain environments where it is best for like viruses or bacteria to grow. And so the best thing to do in order to get rid of those bad bacteria or the viruses is to change the environment so that it's no longer conducive for those things to stay. And so sometimes we have to do just that. We have to change the environment. We have to get up and go. And that will require us to do a faith check and to remember that if God is telling us to move somewhere, God also has the ability to provide for us and make sure that where we are going will be a fruitful place for us. In this season, I'm trying to be more obedient to when God tells me to move and to go where He actually tells me to move. I don't have to know all of the details. I don't have to know each and every step, because knowing those things is not actually true faith. But I do have faith in God, God who has been so faithful all the way up to now, God who continues to make a way out of no way. He has earned my trust in changing my surroundings. And so I really just want you all to know that sometimes in order for you to be consistent in your New Year resolution, sometimes in order for you to be consistent in your commitment to God and to grow in God, you may have to change your surroundings, your location, or your environment in order to do so. Let's not be so locked in to a particular place where we won't even go when God is telling us to go, okay? This thing that I'm talking about this week that we may need to change is our surroundings, okay? I would love to know what you all think about this. What are some things that prevent you from changing your surroundings? Have you ever found that a particular place that you may be in is causing you to backslide or to not do things as great as you typically would have? If you have any tips for getting people's feet moving, then I would love for y'all to send those to me, comment them. But yeah, sometimes we just got to change our surroundings, all right? Y'all make sure that you like this video if you liked it, or even if you don't, you can still like it and get my numbers up. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can know when I'm going on, even if I don't necessarily post it. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you all next time for a little TLC. Bye-bye.